watch the
Victory.
Hey guys, welcome to Project Build. I'm here again with Blake and with Barry this time. And today we're going to have a look at Barry's build. He's doing a 2.7 into a B5 chassis, so we'll talk about that. First of all, Barry, when did you pick this car up and how long have you had it?
Yeah, I got this about 2.5 years ago. You know, I've always wanted a B5, so when I saw it, you know, initially I wanted to buy it, but I was looking for a daily driver. And in communicating with the seller, he said, you know, there's an engine problem. It's got a low compression on one of the cylinders. So right away I was like, okay, I don't want to touch this car. So a few days went by and then I started thinking about it again. I thought, okay, I'll go take a look at it and just see what it looks like, see what the body's like, and go from there and see what the engine's like, because you know, he said it stumbles a little bit. So I drove out there, took a look at the car. The body on it really jumped out at me. I thought, yeah, I can really recover this, and it was just like a bit dull. So it wasn't anything to look at from a distance, but when you get up close and started inspecting it, it looked really good. So I made a deal with him based on the engine having that issue, and it kind of tied in well with the plan to pull the engine and upgrade it to stage 3.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we have this really clean chassis. We've already pulled the 2.7 out of it, and you're going to be just modifying the 2.7
exactly
and putting one right back in. So
yeah.
While we're talking about this block, are we going to be reusing this block, or are you going to a different one?
No, so yeah, the previous owner told me with the compression issue, he had it scoped and it looked like there was some scoring on the bore. So I set out to look for a donor engine, got one of those from my buddy Tyler. I think it was a higher mileage engine because it was very, very rusty and the piston showed a bit of excess wear on the coating on the side skirt. So I stripped it right down, and the only thing I'm going to use from that donor is the bare block. I brought it to a machine shop, had the bores honed, cleaned, and then I stripped all the rust off of it and spent a lot of time cleaning it up and painted it. So I'm going to use that block, that new block, newish block, and use all the accessories, the heads, manifold, like basically everything else from this engine.
So in terms of turbochargers, what route are you going to go?
Yeah, so I tossed around a lot of ideas. Initially I wanted to go with some bigger turbos. TTE makes a nice line of turbos, and I was thinking going that route, going through that thought process. A set of upgraded connecting rods came up on the forums, so I snagged those. And then unfortunately things changed and I decided to go with just OE K04s and to see what they can give me.
So you said that some rods popped up. Which brand of rods did you get for it?
Those are the max speeding rods, and they're new, but somebody had bought them already and was just trying to get rid of them, so I got a good deal on them that way, so I didn't have to pay full price for them.
And in terms of other stock parts, are you going to be replacing anything to go with those RS4 turbos?
No, I'm going to use the stock manifolds. Obviously the bigger inlets to match them, and then exhaust, I'm going to have catless downpipes and an aftermarket exhaust. I haven't locked that down yet, but I've got the XSPower catless 2.5 inch downpipes. And in terms of the rest of the intake, I'm going to use a stock Y pipe, the stock bipipes, with taps for water meth injection, and then on the airbox side, stock airbox, RS4 accordion, and then a 3D printed MAF housing for the Hitachi sensor.
That's pretty cool. Did you find a file for that 3D printed Hitachi?
No, yeah, so I have obviously my stock housing, and then I bought with the accordion, the RS4 accordion, and RS4 MAF housing, and I took the dimensions off both and then basically just came up with my own design so that it fits the stock airbox, fits the RS4 accordion, has the Hitachi sensor mount, and then also has the screen inside as well for flow turbulence.
Awesome. Anything else that you're going to be changing from stock? Any other parts?
Yeah, so intercoolers. And these aren't even the biggest ones SRM make. These I got from a guy on the forums again, but by the time shipping and brokerage, they're probably about the same price as new, and they are new, but I just bought them secondhand. So I think they're V2s. The V3s are a bit bigger, in one dimension, I can't remember which, and the V4 I think have the bigger inlet and outlet. So these will fit the stock piping. If I'm not mistaken, I think there may be one coupler that's different on the inlet or the outlet, but yeah, but they should be fine. They'll be more than adequate for the power that I'm looking for, and I don't have to modify my bumper or anything like that. I can just run my stock bumper with these.
And obviously the ignition here is a little bit changed up. You're going to stick with those.
Yeah.
These 2-liter 2.0T coils?
Yeah, they are. I may clean up the wiring a bit. This is the ECS kit. I just don't like how it's all over the place. You can see it here. You know, it comes down here near the exhaust manifold, then big bulky connectors. So I'm going to just look at maybe some other kits or see if I can just do the wiring myself and, you know, just tidy it up a bit. Trying to go for a nice clean look. Obviously take everything apart, paint it, clean everything up. I'm trying to get a powder coating setup going in my basement, so I'll you know, definitely be powder coating this, the valve covers, coolant pipes, whatever, brackets I can find. Like, I'm basically going to spend 6 months on this and make it as good looking as I can.
Now you mentioned going with water meth injection. What's the game plan there?
So it's not like necessary for this build, but it's just something that intrigues me, something that I want to kind of tinker with and squeeze a little bit more power out of the car with it. So you have the tank, the pump, controller, and then the injection nozzles which mount into the bipipes. So I'm going to mount this in the trunk, this in the trunk as well, controller goes in the cabin. Yeah, I'm going to run 50-50 mix and just see what it gives me, I suppose.
And the idea of the water injection is just to reduce the intake temperature a little bit, and it gives you a little bit of knock resistance as well?
Yeah, reduce intake temperature and increase the octane rating of the fuel. But you also have to keep in mind, like, if it fails, then or the tank runs dry and you don't fill it up in time, there's like just an extra complexity.
So if you're running the water meth, do you have to, your tune's obviously tuned for it.
Exactly.
And there's no way to like switch your tune at all, like in case you run dry or something?
Yeah, there are. I've read of some guys who do that. They have like 2 tunes, one without, one with, and you can switch between. Okay. So if you know it's not going to work or you're not going to be using it, then you can switch the other tune.
Yeah. Because otherwise, that's running full time, right? Yeah. Like, and how long does the tank go?
Well, it only runs under certain pressure, right? So it ramps up from, like, let's say 10 to 20 psi. It turns on at 10, and then your full injection at 20. So yeah, you just got to keep. And there's a sensor on the tank, so it tells you if it's low. Another solution that I'm kind of debating with is using the windshield washer fluid reservoir, because it's got a warning in it already. And washer fluid is methanol and water, distilled water anyway. So I wouldn't run washer fluid, I'd run my own mix, but it's just another place to, you know, think about storing the fluid and putting the pump under the hood. So
for nozzle position, that injector is just going to be in this pipe that's going to the throttle body somewhere?
Yeah, exactly. So the intercooler is here. There's guidance on kind of how far to put it from your throttle body, and I think I've seen other guys that put it kind of in this area here. So that's kind of where I'll tap into. Yeah, nothing fancy, just drill, tap. It's plastic, so you got to be careful. And yeah, it just mounts up there, and the hoses you have 2, 1 on each side, and they'll come into a T and then go to the tank.
In terms of intake and fuel injection here, are you changing anything up intake side with the manifold or with the cylinder heads or anything? No, that's all going to stay stock. Injectors, obviously, upgrading those. Do you have an idea what injectors you might end up going with? Or yep, I've already got them. So they're Bosch 62-pound injectors. So the injectors are done. Manifold will stay the same. Throttle body stay the same. Throttle body boot, I'm going to leave the same for now. And if it blows, I replaced it not too long ago, so it should be in good condition. And if it can't withstand the pressures, then I'll look at something else. But for now, I'm just going to leave it. You don't have your flywheel yet? I do. It's in the cabinet. Yeah, come on in. Okay. Look at this guy. So in terms of clutch, you're going with the same package that Blake's using, and this is the TTV flywheel and the B7 RS4 clutch and pressure plate? Yeah, exactly. I was looking at the Ringer Racing setup, the Stage 4. The cost of that was $1,400 or $1,500 US. So, I thought that was the only route, and then Blake kind of presented the idea of using the TTV flywheel, and that converts to the B7 clutch package, and the price compared to the Ringer Racing setup was much more attractive. Yeah, about $650 Canadian, and then the
the B7 RS4 clutch was $200 Canadian.
So nice affordable package.
Yeah, and the flywheel is really nice. It's a bit lighter. I don't know how much lighter, but the machining on it is very nice. The quality is really high, and it mates up really well with the. They designed it specifically for the B7 RS4 clutch, which should hold the power of a K04 setup. So I'm going to run this, and it should give me stock feel as well. Apparently, it's a good pedal feel, which is important to me because I like that.
So you've gone a little bit, I don't want to say a more affordable route because those BorgWarner turbos are probably a little bit more expensive than some of the aftermarket versions or competition to those turbos. But obviously by going onto the forums and being able to find some secondhand parts, you've been able to save a little bit of money on your build?
Yep, I'd say so. And same with the turbos. Somebody posted on AudiZine a link to a parts warehouse in the States, and both turbos was $1,800 US, brand new. So even compared to like SRM's offerings for their RS4 turbos, it was more expensive, but not by much. So I'll just have that peace of mind that, you know, they're German made, they're OE. You know, I can run these things for 100,000, 150,000 kilometers. I'm not going to have any issues.
So would you say that's kind of where you're going with your build, is you're looking for maximum reliability?
Yeah. If I decide to, so I won't have any issues, like, you know, I'll have peace of mind with the reliability of the bottom end. You don't really need to do rods if you're doing K04s, but if I do upgrade turbos down the road, then I won't have to open up the bottom end. And yeah, the overall plan for the engine is kind of like an OE plus type configuration. The stock size turbo is going for about 400 wheel horsepower, and I think that's doable and being reliable at the same time. I know it's, you know, when you get into that horsepower range, you know, you kind of sacrifice reliability, but if everything's kind of put together right, and I think I can do that, then it should be a reliable engine for a good amount of time to come.
Well, so here's the thing, Barry, is that Blake just simplified his life by putting some cars away and only having the 6-speed. And I tried to simplify my life by not having all kinds of cars registered and insured, and then we're like, a couple of cars break down and we're both like, oh my god, I got nothing to drive.
Man, you guys are gonna make my setup look like a friggin' junkyard build. Like, yeah. Mine's, but it's not even a budget build. I spent $6,000 on that friggin' turbo kit.
What's an SD card haven over here?
I don't think they're all actually SD cards. I think they're dummies or something like that.
You just have like fake SD cards to throw people off? Or?